It's game time, right here, right now.
Hello and happy Saturday to all of you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be watching. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is a District 4 Class 3A quarterfinal matchup sponsored by Tower Pizza and Century Services, featuring the visiting Milton Black Panthers, the 6th seed, and the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. Good evening, everyone. My name's Jim Lesko. Alongside me is my brother Dan Lesko. Jose Gonzalo supports us from the sidelines. And together we're coming to you live from Jazz Diminick Field at the Silver Bowl in Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania. Now, it's the first Saturday. It won't be the first time I make that mistake. Or I should say it won't be the last time I make that mistake tonight. No. It's the first Saturday night in November. And the Red Tornadoes, for one, are none too disappointed that the calendar has turned, as October was truly spooky season for the Red Tornadoes on the field. If you go back, September 27th, the Red Tornadoes defeat Hughesville here at the Silver Bowl to go to 5-1 on the season. Unfortunately, during the month of October, they're 2-2, Dan, culminating with a tough loss last week here to the Indians in the annual Coal Bucket game.
Yeah. So I think you're right, Jim. I think this will be a welcome changing of the month here for the Red Tornadoes. But, also kind of thinking about it a little bit here, that it's been an interesting night. It's interesting. It's Saturday. It's not Friday night. You've talked about it before. It's not Friday night, so your routine's a little off. You can kind of feel it. Usually these Saturday games are played Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
If you do play a Saturday game. So it's a Saturday night. It feels different, and you can tell.
Yeah, so, and as a player, is it different for you as a player, too? I mean, we talked about it a little bit. It's different kind of vibes for us, but do you have a routine typically as a player with Fridays nights that maybe it's harder to replicate today?
I mean, personally, for myself, I had a routine throughout the entire week.
Yeah.
That if that game didn't happen Friday night, it threw everything out of bounds, kind of out of whack. But, Wednesday night you go to somebody's house and you watch the game. Thursday you have supper club, Pride night, Friday game. And then you have your weekend. You start Saturday morning bright and early, you watch film session and go from there. And Fridays in general are a huge day. I mean, you wake up in the morning, you go to church with the team, you go to school, you have a pep rally, you do whatever it is that you have to do, and then you go from school, you might run home for a minute, but you're pretty much right here to the stadium.
Sure.
And you're at the field house for 4 or 5 hours leading up to the game with your teammates, with your family, prepping for the game. Today, it's Saturday, everybody kind of probably slept in a little bit, so it's definitely a different preparation.
So do you expect tonight, Dan, in kind of in that same vein, we're kind of back to normal now, right? It's here.
Yeah.
The teams, as you see there, they look awesome in the red and white tonight. They're going to come out here. Do you foresee that affecting the way Coach Dara calls the game, at least early on? Do you think he'll try to settle the team, or do you think everybody's probably pretty locked in?
I mean, I like to think that at least in Coach Dara's eyes, he's got his guys ready. He's got the team locked in, and they're ready to play a football game. It's still a fall night, here under the lights at the Silver Bowl. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Dara come out, first offensive series, shotgun double wing, run the ball up the middle a couple times, get the shoulders warmed up a little bit, get the offense going. Start with something that's familiar, just to kind of, bring everybody into it. Like, hey, we're playing a football game.
Well, and to that point, you talked about the shotgun double wing, running right up the middle. While, again, I think there was a lot of disappointment, of course, last week with the loss.
Yeah.
One of the positive things was the guy taking the handoffs up the middle, Luke Blessing.
Yeah.
Maybe not as many yards as he would have liked, but with kind of where he's come throughout the season, he had 15 carries and a reception out of the backfield. So he had 16 touches last week What do you expect kind of see from Luke tonight?
I expect more of the same. I think that, not to take anything away from these Milton Black Panthers, but that Shamokin defense was probably one of the best defenses that the Red Tornadoes have seen all season, and may see going, throughout the playoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
It may have been the best one, realistically. And Luke still did a really good job running the ball.
Yeah, he did.
And 85% of his touches were in between the tackles. I mean, there were some big boys in there. He was taking hits, and he was popping right back up. And even when he wasn't, running the ball, touching the football, he was in there as a protector for Marshall, who was under a lot of duress. So he was taking hits back there, and he still came out of that on the other side, and looked good coming off the field. We saw him when we were leaving Friday last week. He was walking fine, no limp. So it's very, very good to see. So I expect to see Luke used in what the capacity that we expected him to be used in all year, up until at least maybe if there's a point where Red Tornadoes get a little bit of a lead, then maybe give him a little bit of a break going forward. But you also got to remember that you don't have to pound Luke all game, because still that leading rusher on the card there, Cooper Karicki, has still been tremendous, and you can't take carries away from him.
Right, and Dan, you talked about it again. If you go back, the Red Tornadoes just played Milton 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And if you go back to that game, Blessing had 6 carries for 29 yards, right? So,
yes.
So Milton saw a little bit of them.
Yeah.
So that might be a wrinkle tonight, that there's more of that.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about running backs the other team hasn't seen, that goes true on both sides.
Yeah.
As the Red Tornadoes didn't see the Black Panthers' #1 running back, Chris Doyle.
Right.
Doyle came back from injury last week, and all he did was tote the rock 18 times for 148 yards.
Yeah. So that's a lot of confidence from the coaching staff. His first game back, he's going to carry the ball 18 times. You know what I mean? He's probably in there on, you get 18 touches, you're probably in there 30 plus.
Sure.
Downs.
Yeah, that's a full workload.
That's for a running back, that is a complete full workload. So I don't think we're going to see Mr. Doyle really limited at all tonight. But the big problem the Red Tornadoes had defensively last time they played Milton 2 weeks ago, was Monty Fisher, who's the #1 receiver, kick returner. So now you have to plan for both of those guys.
And so here we see the teams coming to the midfield for the coin toss for the Panthers. It's going to be Wolf, Diddy, Doyle, and Minium left to right. On here in the red jerseys, it's going to be Matt Belichick, Tate Adams, Luke Blessing, and Al Bailey. So we got a great camera shot here right in the coin toss. And we'll see the Red Tornadoes won the toss and defer to the second half. So we will get to see Minium, Doyle, Fisher, and Diddy first.
Yeah, and that is a formidable offense, Jim. They had a hard time getting the run game going the last time around against the Red Tornadoes, but again, they were without their leading rusher in Chris Doyle. So I'm curious to see, with the Black Panthers receiving the ball here, what they decide to do, if their offensive scheme has changed at all, because they were pretty wide open and they were letting Minium toss it around a good bit the last time around. So maybe now with Doyle back, you'll see him tighten things up, maybe a little bit more balanced.
Well, I think we'll see early on here too, Dan, how the Red Tornadoes are going to handle special teams. Because again, Fisher, you mentioned it, had some big returns just a couple weeks ago against Mount Carmel to really get things started. Now, in a few cases, the defense held. I think one of the initial returns from the Panthers got them inside the 20, and Miller ends up blocking a field goal.
Yes.
Ben Miller blocks a field goal to kind of turn that try away, but Fisher has certainly shown himself capable of a big return.
Yeah, and just big play capability all around. He also caught some long passes in the game as well. I mean, he's going to be the guy that Minium's looking for in the pass game. But again, like I said, I think with the return of Doyle, I think you're going to see a much more balanced attack.
right. Shoppy kicking off for the Red Tornadoes. And the District 4 quarterfinal matchup is underway. It's going to be Diddy from the 12. And he's right up the middle. And Fisher. It's Fisher. He's still on his feet. He's inside the 20. They're going to mark him down outside the 25. They'll say he's at the 22. And so right off the bat, just as we discussed it, it's almost, Dan, it's almost deja vu from 2 weeks ago.
It is, Jim. And this Red Tornado kick coverage team has had some trouble, and it's usually been up the middle this year. The returners are not able to get the edge, but they find creases right up the middle, right up in that briar patch. That's where you got to live. They get through there. He ran through a couple thorns and found some open space there. So some really good starting field position.
And it's Doyle inside the 20. Give him maybe 5.
Yeah, he got a little more than I anticipated at first. He took that handoff with some red jerseys around him and was able to kind of fight forward for a couple extra yards there. It's a nice way to start things off. And I think we're going to see a lot of Doyle because there was the Black Panthers were a little limited the last time that they played against the Red Tornadoes because they didn't have Doyle in the run game.
It's 3 wide, trips to the right for. That's not Minium.
That's Lytle.
That's Lytle. The ball is on the ground, and the ball is on the ground, and Belichick is. They're blowing the play dead, and that's a tough one. Really,
really, really early to blow that whistle there. Lytle was still moving forward. Wow.
So still a nice job there by the Red Tornadoes of stopping Lytle. And it looks like it's Minium back there again. He's got Doyle to his right, 4 wide. He's going to go straight back. The screen is set up, and it's high, intended for Diddy. Now it'll be 4th down, and we'll see. Dan, we talked about it. Osmond was kicking from pretty deep here in warm-ups, but it does not look like Coach Wilson's going to kick here.
No, and you know, not to take anything away from Osmond, we've seen his capability, and we know that he is a very talented kicker. But it's a lot different kicking in early time with no rush, as opposed to, you know, a team that's getting a little momentum because they got to get a stop here, coming after that ball.
Minium under pressure from Clokus. Clokus has him. He gets the ball out just barely. We're going to see what they rule. They rule him down, the official looks like. And that's, no?
I'm not sure what they're going to do here. I was waiting to see if there was a flag because that ball didn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's going to be Red Tornado ball regardless here. We'll see. There's the flag. It was an intentional grounding flag is what it was.
They did the right thing. They came together. They discussed. They knew it didn't get to the line of scrimmage. The head referee asked if there was a player in the area. There was not a receiver in the area. So now that ball is going to be spotted another 15 yards to the good for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, the ball right now is resting at the 17. It's going to be all the way out to the 32 is where the Red Tornadoes will take over 1st and 10. And, you know, we've talked a lot about that inside linebacker tandem and Clokus and Miller, the top 2 tacklers on that defense. And if you think about 2 weeks ago, that initial drive ended with Ben Miller blocking a field goal.
Yep.
And now this one ends with Jason Clokus on a huge sack.
Yeah, and you know what, Jim? It's one thing that I always like to see Coach Dara and the defensive coordinators dial up some pressure from the inside. We don't see it too often, but it seems like every time they send a linebacker, they get home. And that time it was Clokus, and it's huge for the turnover there.
Now 1st and 10, and it's Blessing. And Blessing powers forward across the 40 out to the 42. It'll be a gain of about 6.
Yeah, and you like that. That's the one thing that the main thing that you missed not having Luke Blessing in the lineup was that power rush game, you know, between the tackles. It's good to see that.
Once was good, 2 is better. Blessing will have a 1st down. Well, it looks like the ball came out late. Wait to see the ruling that he's down. no ruling that he's down, but it does seem like he must have gotten back on the football.
Yeah.
That was weird, only because, the players kind of dispersed before the officials got there. It doesn't usually happen on a fumble. But nevertheless, 1st and 10 out at the 47. Marshall to throw. He's under pressure. He stays on his feet, but it's going to cost him an extra 5 yards. Now, it looks like they might give him forward progress.
Yeah.
They'll say that last kind of 5 yards that he lost was the result of being
spun around there.
Kind of flung backward. But it still is going to be a major loss.
I mean, it's
going to be about 14.
Yeah, it's going to look like, I was going to say, about a 2nd and 25 now. But this is one thing that the Red Tornadoes have had trouble with throughout the season. When they put multiple guys in the pass pattern, if the defense brings extra rushers, they get there.
And with that 3-4, and you saw the blitz right there. Oh, my goodness. What a play by Skylar Humphrey. My goodness, he stuck Blessing just as he took the football from Marshall.
That was yeah, that was just a great job there by Humphrey getting through and making that tackle in the backfield to back the Red Tornadoes up even more.
Cricky, the recipient of that shot, not Blessing. It's going to be 3rd and a while. Marshall back under pressure again, and unfortunately, the ball is out, and it looks like the Black Panthers are on top of the football. And they will, and they're going to take over not far from where their last drive ended.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And, Dan, this is something that we saw at the end of the game last week against Shamokin.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it. When the extra rushers came, the Red Tornadoes had a hard time keeping Marshall upright.
Yeah, and I mean, the 2 dropbacks that Marshall has have both ended in sacks. I mean, he hasn't been able to throw the ball, which is unacceptable.
4 wide for Minium. He's going to go straight back. He's looking for Fisher. He throws up the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown! One pass, one play, touchdown. Panthers, they answer on the turnover. 17 yards from Minium to Fisher. And that's now the 3rd time those two have hooked up through the air against the Red Tornadoes this season.
Yeah, and what a great hookup. I mean, it looked like that was kind of like a flood pattern there. Lytle and Fisher both in the area, but 2 Red Tornado defenders there as well. And Fisher kind of was able to kind of get lost in there a little bit behind the defense.
Osmond's kick is no good. Morganti almost got there.
Yes, he did.
May have been just enough to alter Osmond's kind of motion.
7 minutes, 56 seconds left in the first quarter.
So again, we want to thank tonight's sponsor for the first half is Tower Pizza. And thanks for the support here. And thanks all of you for the support throughout the season. Another thing we've been talking about a lot, remember, as long as the Red Tornado season continues, there will be Supper Club on Thursday nights at Matucci's. Officially starts at 6:30. But you want to get there at 5:45, and I can attest to that. Dan and I had the opportunity to go 2 nights ago.
Yep.
It was a great experience. Coach Veach talked a lot about his experience playing in the Red Tornadoes in the 60s and 70s. Talked a lot about the experience coaching his boys in the 90s and even
state championship teams.
Yeah, it was really cool. Make sure you get there. And again, don't forget, that's also where you can buy those raffle tickets to win the signed game-worn Travis Kelce jersey. That was provided so generously by Brett Veach. And again, hopefully you had a chance last week to see that interview he granted WKMC TV. It was awesome of Brett to offer his time. So we continue to appreciate kind of all that he's willing to do to help us out here. So now Osmond will kick. Kimzel and Cricky back deep. It's a high kick. It's going to be Cricky coming all the way up. He's going to take it at about the 16. He's going to try to get the edge, and he will. He's going to be run out of bounds. Be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes from It's like about the 33-yard line.
Yeah, Jim here, just over 4 minutes into this game so far. Not exactly where I anticipated this game going to start things off. The little bit of a slow start there for the Red Tornado offense. The defense started strong with their first defensive series, and then just I think the turnover and a little bit of the momentum picked up by the Black Panthers defense translated to the offense for the touchdown.
It's the direct snap to Bailey. He's going to get out. It's like they'll give him the 38. That's going to be a gain of about 5. And Dan, I can't help but notice, just as we kind of called out a little bit last week, right away, it's early on and sure, I get the Red Tornadoes have gone tight, but you look at the back end of that Panther defense in Lytle, and he's 7 yards off the ball. And here comes the blitz, and it's Blessing. And now this is what Blessing can do when you blitz. He's got the corner. He's going to put his head down.
Blessing on the carry, picks the first down.
Lytle's going to get under him. Blessing will be out of bounds at the opposite 38, so a nice 24-yard run there for number 24, and the Red Tornadoes are in business.
Yeah, that's a really good job there by Blessing, and you're right, Jim. That's exactly what Blessing brings to the table, is his ability to get up in between the tackles and then find the crease and get to the outside.
Now it's Delaney, and Delaney picks away, and he makes 2, 3, 4. Panthers miss. My goodness. Touchdown, Mount Carmel, 38 yards. Jalen Delaney, and we're knotted at 6 with 7:04 left in the first quarter.
And Jim, this is almost shades of last year with the thunder and lightning there. You get Blessing banging in between the tackles, and then you have Jalen Delaney, who's playing in that position that Xavier Diaz played the last 2-3 years with that inside Sally trap there, and just making guys miss at will. Shiftiness. Wow. What a run.
It's a good snap, it's a good hold, and it's a good kick by Shoppy, and the Red Tornadoes take a 7-6 lead. No, he missed it. Excuse me.
Your score, 7 minutes. 4 seconds left to first.
I didn't see which way it missed.
Oh, my goodness.
There was some pressure on
there
Shoppy
certainly
as well
was
on that kick. But you're right, Jim. From our angle up here, it looked like that thing split the uprights.
I thought that was good.
It looked like it did. And Shoppy's been so consistent all year that if it looks like it goes through, you think it goes through.
Honestly, after that one, I wonder what a lot of them look like.
Yeah.
But in any event, it's all knotted up here at the Silver Bowl. It's been a little exciting here in the first 5 minutes, more so than I think either side would have liked.
Yeah. Either side's defense, at least.
Right. So again, Shoppy will come on and kick off for Mount Carmel. Red Tornadoes are going to do what they can to prevent another big return from Fisher.
See, I don't know if it's normally like this with Morgani and Clokus on the inside, but having Morgani, Clokus, and Ben Miller, those are 3 of your best tacklers, especially on special teams, right in that middle. So that's where you want those guys. That's where you've been getting beat. Bring them in there.
Well, Shoppy kicking from the hash.
That's a different wrinkle here, too.
And he's going to kick that away from Fisher right to Diddy at the 13. Diddy's not going to have the same kind of success Fisher did.
No.
So good job there by the Red Tornadoes of figuring out something that works. It'll be 1st and 10, Black Panthers at the 29.
Yeah, and all 3 of the guys that I mentioned there on the inside were around that tackle. It looked like Miller and Clokus in on it. Morgani just squeezing down to help get there, but it's a really good job there by the Red Tornadoes, making the necessary adjustment.
So it's 4 wide for Minium. He's going to give it to Doyle this time, and Doyle's going to be stuck in the backfield. Not sure if that's Karicki that got there first.
I think it was.
Yeah, it looks like Clokus and Miller and Bailey get off the bottom of that pile, but I think it was Karicki's pressure.
Yeah, I think Karicki was the first one through there that got hands on Doyle almost as he was taking the handoff.
So it'll be 2nd and 11, loss of a yard. Again, that same set from the Panthers. This time Minium will throw, and he's looking quickly, and it's batted down by Miller. He was looking for Chase Lytle, but Miller makes a nice play in space.
And that's a great job by Miller. You see, I mean, you get a great shot of it there on the replay there. He takes his read step. He sees that it's a pass. He starts to drop to his hook curl zone. And as he's in his drop to his hook curl zone, that's right where the ball's going, intended for Lytle on a hook route. And Miller gets there and gets his hand in the way. Really, I mean, that's textbook for an inside linebacker. It's a great job.
Mentioned it before last week. The Red Tornadoes had trouble getting off the field on 3rd down. 3rd and 11 here. Minium's going to drop. And he's looking for Diddy, and it's just out of his reach. Diddy had a huge week last week. Could have started a huge one right there this week, but it was just a little too far. And the Red Tornadoes will be readying to face a punt.
Yeah, and that's not a bad ball from Minium, just a little too long for Diddy. But you see, I like what the Red Tornadoes are doing defensively now. Last time that there was a 3rd and long, they brought pressure up the middle with the linebackers. So this time, 3rd and long, they show pressure, and then they back out.
Punt's going to be taken by Morganti, who's already got 2 touchdowns returns, and I'm not going to get excited about this one because it's coming back, folks. It's a great return by Morganti, and he will take it all the way. But you can, if you're here, you can hear the lack of excitement from the Big Red because we all saw the flag thrown immediately.
I mean, that was as Morganti was receiving the kick, the flag was thrown, and you know, the effort from Morganti to take that all the way was impressive, but all for naught. It's going to come back.
And that would have been somewhere around a 62 or 63-yard return for a touchdown. It would have been his 3rd on the season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Morganti has been electric in the punt return game and defensively. I mean, he's climbing the ranks there on the within the team in the interceptions category as well.
Had 2 last week, 3 on the season, 2nd on the team behind Belichick's 4.
Yeah.
Ball spotted on the 33-yard line.
Now the ball's going to go all the way back to the 33. Which I think is right about where the last drive started.
Pretty close, yeah.
So it'll be 1st and 10 as we just passed the midway point. 5:54 left. It's Blessing again. And Blessing is to the outside again. And he's going to put his head down. It'll be Lytle will trip him up, but Blessing will take 5 yards, and I think he wants more, Dan.
Yeah, keep feeding him, Jim. Credit to Lytle for hanging on to the ankle there because I mean, Blessing, if you're playing NCAA, he used the truck stick button there on Lytle, but Lytle hung on to make the tackle. Good job.
You got a great block down there. Marshall to throw it. He's got Chase Belichick, and he hits him. It's a perfect ball, and it's a 51-yard touchdown pass from Marshall to Belichick.
And Jim, that's after giving up the pressure on the first offensive drive and the touchdown for Milton to take the early lead. That's how you answer. You get the ball back, you drive it down the field, you score points, you get a 3 and out, and then you do the same thing again. That's how you answer. The big play capability from the Red Tornadoes finally beginning to rear its head again.
Shoppy's kick is up, and this time I'll wait for the signal, and it's good. And it's 13-6, Big Red.
5 minutes, 28 seconds left in the first quarter. Not Carmel area, Red Tornadoes 13, Milton, Black Panthers 6.
And again, I mean, you can't take the first 4 minutes of the game, and you forget about those. Can't ask for a better start from the Red Tornadoes here. Since the Milton Black Panthers touchdown, the Red Tornadoes have taken the ball, scored 6, gotten a 3 and out, taken the ball, scored 7. So it's a pretty good start.
Well, and realistically, I mean, we talked about it a lot at the outset about what the offense looks like and how the team operates differently with Blessing in the backfield.
Yeah.
And Dan, I mean, you know, the Red Tornadoes, you can talk about the first 4 minutes, but that Red Tornado drive looked really rough, that first one.
It did.
Marshall gets sacked twice, the fumble. And even, you know, the first play, the second drive, maybe not as great, but it's a 24-yard run from Belichick on the second play of that drive.
Yeah.
That gets them, you know, into Black Panther territory for the first time. And then the next play is the Delaney touchdown. So it's really, Blessing's kind of been the spark here early.
Yeah, he's and I mean, we've seen it over the past 3 years. He's been almost a catalyst for this Red Tornado offense. He opens things up in the passing game. He's able to get the tough yards running the ball.
And that's Fisher. And here we go again. Fisher down the right side. And he's going to ultimately get tackled out of bounds by Aiden Dietz, who's made a lot of tackles the last couple weeks on special teams. But he's going to get out to the 45-yard line. It's another good return by Fisher.
Yeah, it is. Fisher, I mean, he is fast, Jim. He gets so much speed. He looked like a blur heading to the sideline there. And he, you know, even with good edge protection, he beats the edge. You know, it's impressive how quick he can get out there and his vision.
Now it's a trip stack to the left for Minium. See if he rolls that way. Oh, it's going to be Doyle that direction, but Matt Belichick's there to meet him head on. And he's going to send him into the waiting arms of Bailey and Miller. I think Clokus is in there too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, and again, you know, we thought that with Doyle being back, that things would be a little different. The Black Panthers would kind of try to slow the game down, run the ball, pound the rock a little bit more. And you wonder if that's going to be what they have to do. Because with how quickly the Red Tornadoes showed that they can score in the last 2 drives, you don't want to keep giving them the ball back.
No. Diddy in motion. They're going to hand it to him. The ball's on the ground, and it's recovered. It's recovered by Clokus. And a good push there from the Red Tornadoes. We'll get down to the 41-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10, Mount Carmel going that way. And you see here, it's just trouble with the handoff.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just that rocket motion. That's the danger of like a speed motion like that, is the timing has to be perfect. And if the snap's a little high, a little low, if the exchange is a little off, that's what can happen. And Clokus got a very, very fortunate bounce there, right up into his belly.
And here's Delaney now. And Delaney explodes through there, still on his feet. He's going to be flung down at the 25, but again, a gain of 16, and the Red Tornadoes are starting to look like the Red Tornadoes again, Dan.
Yeah, they are, Jim. You're absolutely right. You know, we've talked about some of the troubles that the offense has had for the past
and that's Bailey
few weeks, but they
look
look very different.
And I wanted to take a second. It's hard here. It's going to be illegal motion against, illegal substitution.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's illegal is what I was looking for. Against the Panthers. And we kind of had an illegal situation up here too, as Dan was talking right through that play.
Yeah.
That's how fast the Red Tornadoes are moving right now.
Too fast.
Too fast for us. But real quick, it's worth noting, we talk about it all the time, that Red Tornado offensive line, left to right now, it looks like it's Delaney, Shiganowski, Demko at the center, Bumps, that's Logan Erb, and Shimko at the right tackle.
Yeah.
And my goodness, you got to give those big guys credit. It's hard when they move this fast.
Yeah, it is. But you're right, Jim. Shimko was 20 yards downfield making a block there on that last play.
So it's 1st and 5, and this is Cooper. And Cooper's going to get stood up for no gain. So it'll stay 1st and 5 from the 20. Or excuse me, it'll be 2nd and 5.
Result of the play brings up a 2nd and 5 for Mount Carmel.
And now we'll see. Look for 2nd down here. Look for Delaney on the Sally play here again.
You have Bailey and Delaney in those 2 wing spots to the right. Good call, Dan. It is Delaney. And that's such a sea of red that he gets to run up behind. I mean, it's Delaney, it's Kricki. Max Kricki's coming off that left tight end spot. He's in there.
Yep.
Cooper's getting up there first along with Al. It's just a nice surge for a first down to the 14-yard line.
Yeah, that play's not always going to pop for 25, 30 yards or a touchdown every time.
Right.
But if they can get that surge like they have been, you'll get 5-6 yards every play.
And now it's Cooper, and Cooper still on his feet. He's going to get in. Touchdown, Cooper Cricky, 14 yards out, and it's 19-6 here, Mount Carmel. 2:53 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's a great run by Cooper. Just does an awesome. And again, we've talked about we've talked so much about blessing these last 2 weeks. We forget that Cooper Cricky has the capability to do this,
Absolutely.
and that's why he's the leading rusher on this team right now. He's no slouch in the backfield. We've talked about this, about Coach Dara, coach teams, ad nauseum probably over the past 7 years, that they just have a wealth of riches at the skill position, and they continue to show it every week.
Shoppy's kick is good. That makes it 20-6 here. And yeah, Dan, I was just looking back at my notes here. To your point, Cricky had 3 touchdowns 2 weeks ago versus Milton.
Yeah.
So they're sick of seeing that kid as well.
Yeah. So that'll make 4 on the year for Cricky against Milton.
So just a great job there. And
this has been a fast-paced first quarter here, and there's still just under 3 minutes to go. We've seen 4 touchdowns, turnovers. It's been pretty wild.
Now, one thing the Red Tornadoes have largely avoided, we'll say from a kind of a quantity standpoint, is they had the 1 penalty. Again, the Red Tornadoes are averaging almost 7 a game for the season. However, of course, in this case, again, the one that's called against them cost them a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right? It's a Morgani return. So do with that information what you will.
That always seems to be the case for the Red Tornadoes, unfortunately. If it's on special teams, if there's a penalty on special teams, it seems like 85, 90% of the time, it's bringing a touchdown back.
Right. Shoppy is going to be short. It's going to be Canelo. And Canelo's going to be taken down by Belichick and Cricky.
Real nice job there. And that's the right decision there. We know Shoppy has the leg to kick it deep down inside the 10-yard line.
Oh, yeah.
But when you've got Monty Fisher back there who's getting the Black Panthers in great starting field position every single time, just stop kicking it to them.
Right.
I'll give the 30 every day as long as they're starting in their own territory.
Yep. So now, again, you really... the scoreboard's a little misleading to some extent, only because the Black Panthers haven't sustained an offensive drive at this point.
No, they haven't.
They've been in Red Tornado territory twice. Once was the result of a long kick return, and the other a fumble. So we'll see what Minium goes. He floats it up, and it's incomplete. Looking for Diddy. Great coverage by Belichick, but Minium was under pressure from Clokus.
Really, really good coverage there by Belichick. But, I mean, the fact that Diddy had a chance at that ball is credit to him. I mean, his body control. It was a little bit late, but he got his body turned the opposite direction to try to bring that ball in. And it wasn't a bad throw from Minium off his back foot with Clokus in his face.
You don't think about it, but the idea of looking for a football over your left shoulder, over your right shoulder, requires you look away from that football, and then you have to find it again.
Exactly, yeah. Very difficult.
Little weird action there. Minium over the middle, and he's got Diddy, but a good tackle by Matt Belichick, who, Dan, is he dropping there? Is that where he's at? Let's see.
Let's take a look. You know what, I think Matt steps out there on the number 2 receiver, or there was a trip set. There was a trip set to that side. So Matt steps out from his outside linebacker spot to that trips in coverage. So I don't know if that's man-to-man coverage. It's more of like a cloud with the underneath cover guy, and Belichick's the underneath guy.
Well, in this case, the Red Tornadoes opt to go after Minium. He had Fisher open but missed him. Again, that's pressure from Belichick, from Matt Belichick, and he bounced it in front of Chase. And we'll see, Dan, we'll have to ask Jose if that's a hurry. Because right now, coming into tonight, Matt Belichick had the most hurries in a single season at Mount Carmel with 16.
Wow. So he'll just be adding to that, that total. Yeah, I mean, when you get your name mentioned from that defensive end / outside linebacker spot with Mike Hood, who we saw just do a tremendous job between sacks and hurries and getting after the quarterback and tackles for loss. When your name's mentioned in the same breath as him, when it comes to recent memory, that's pretty good company to be in.
Patterson's low punt rolls a good distance for the Red Tornadoes as Morgani did the smart thing and got out of the way. As there are a lot of white jerseys around, so it's going to be 1st and 10 Mount Carmel down at the 27.
Well, we'll see. Red Tornadoes. Cooper Karicki back there in the backfield again.
But still, the shotgun double wing. Karicki will be the only change. He goes in motion. There's going to be offsides against the Panthers.
Right.
Which, given the Red Tornadoes didn't use any hard count, you got to think where he's lined up.
Lined up in the neutral zone would be my guess, yeah. Either that or some movement on the motion.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that would make any sense. But most of the time, that's waiting until that ball snapped to throw that. That's because he lined up in the neutral zone. You give him that opportunity to get back, but he did not.
So 1st and 5 now. It's Cooper off the right side.
Ooh.
Makes a nice move to get inside. Now, it's a good tackle by Minium, but it could have been a big loss if not for Cooper putting his foot in the ground, getting north and south.
Yeah, Skylar Humphrey came from distance with speed, and Cooper made a miss.
2nd and a yard, the Red Tornadoes say, hey, we know how to pick up a yard. Let's snap it to Al.
Yep.
And Bailey will pick up the 1st down out to the 40.
Bailey picks up the 1st down for the Red Tornadoes. Ball spot on the 40-yard line. 1st and 10, Big Red.
Looks like the Red Tornadoes made a little change on that offensive line. Trying to see all the numbers. And now Marshalk's going to throw, and he's looking for Jalen Delaney, who comes back to the ball and just can't pull it in, but made a great in-flight adjustment.
That's such a tough adjustment because Diddy's in Delaney's chest, which Diddy's in great coverage. He did a really good job not interfering. And Delaney tried to make the adjustment and almost pulled that in. That would have been impressive. I mean, the body control just to be able to do that is impressive.
And the difference on that offensive line, Herb moves to center.
Yep.
And Spears is now in there in the left guard slot. Shiganowski bumped from left guard to right guard, but this is going to be Cooper Karicki, and he's going to get a good block from Bailey to get the corner and the 1st down. We'll mark him out of bounds inside Black Panther territory at the 47-yard line. We got 1:04 left here in the 1st quarter. The Red Tornadoes up 20-6.
Yeah, Jim, we don't really see the Red Tornadoes going away from the shotgun double wing. And, you know, one of my favorite things to say over the Coach Dara's tenure is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Delaney in motion, but it's Karicki. Karicki showing that he can get the tough yards too as he puts his head down and gets down to the 40, give him 7.
Yeah, some really, really tough run there from Cooper that time in between the tackles.
2nd and 2.
And we've seen that from him throughout the season. You know, obviously he's a speed guy. He wants to get out to the edge, but he's not afraid to put a shoulder down in between the tackles.
Now it's Delaney, and Delaney's going to take it wide. He gets a good block from Karicki, and he'll have a 1st down. Going to mark him at the 31. And Dan, what's so interesting about that, and you know we've seen this from Coach Dara over the years. Part of the reason the shotgun double wing works is there's so much motion going on. On the Karicki gain, Delaney's eye candy, right? That motion is just to kind of distract you from what's really going on. That time they give him the football, and Karicki's able to get out in front of him and help him with a block.
Exactly, and that's just another thing that you continue to see is they do such a good job of it. And this time Marshalk's going to keep it.
Down to the 30, to 26.
And again, they're going so quick here, but I really want to mention this, and I think I'm going to actually get a chance here to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, because that's going to be the last play of the 1st quarter. So the Red Tornadoes find themselves ahead 20-6 in this District 4 Class 3A quarterfinal matchup sponsored by Tower Pizza.
So Jim, we see those plays. That inside Sally specifically is the big one that you really notice it. There's no difference when like in the alignment, in the motion, in the handoff, anything. When Delaney or whoever it is, Lukuski, whoever it is, gets that ball, it's a call on the line if that trap's going to be inside or outside.
Okay.
You know, and we used to coach using Coach Carm words here. It was taxi meant it was a short trap. That meant you were going to be trapping probably the tackle, and you were going to be cutting that up early. Or you'd call Greyhound. You know, Greyhound is a bus. It's a little bit longer than a taxi cab. That's a long trap. You're going to be trapping the outside linebacker or the corner. So that's going to be a little bit more outside. So that's all. The reason that those plays go so well is because the offensive line is making the proper calls at the line of scrimmage, and they're executing their blocks to start that whole thing up. You know, we talk about it all the time. The embarrassment of riches at the skill position, but this offensive line has been stellar throughout the season. And just wanted to make sure I able to highlight that.
It's the snap to Bailey right up the middle, and he just continues to pump his feet. He's going to have a first down inside the 20. And Dan, to your point, doesn't that, when you talk about the ability of the offensive line to identify that and know what the call is going to be, you notice we talked about it before. These guys also play multiple positions on the offensive line.
Yeah.
So it's not just I know what I do in my spot at right guard. I might also have to know left guard and center.
Yeah, realistically, a lot of them know, hey, this is what everyone's doing on the offensive line. Even if you're Noah Shimko and you're pretty steady at that right tackle spot, you know what everybody else is doing.
Looks like a blown play there for the Red Tornadoes. Marshalek's going to take a big sack.
Yeah.
All the way back. That'll be back to about the 23, so not necessarily as bad as it could have been, but certainly some confusion there, I think.
Yeah, Marshalek did a good job of himself of sticking his foot in the ground and trying to at least fall forward upfield to, you know, turn that into a little bit less of a loss there.
Now it's Delaney again, and he's to the outside, and he's going to make a... Tries to put the brakes on and can't quite get past Lytle, but he's inside the 10.
Yeah, he's going to be really, really close to a first down. I think he's going to have it.
That's what I was waiting on, to see exactly where they... Because as long as they marked him, as long as he was only like a foot inside the 10, it was going to be a first.
Yeah.
And they gave him the 9. So first and goal from that point. And just over a minute into the second quarter, the Red Tornadoes are in business.
Yeah. Threatening again.
This is Marshalek, and he hands it to Delaney, who weaves his way in, leaving defenders in his wake. 26-6 Mount Carmel on the 9-yard touchdown run for Delaney, his second of the night.
Yeah, and Delaney gets out there behind Max Karicki, leading the way from his tight end spot. He goes downfield. He gets to that second level, the third level. He's blocking the outside linebackers and the safeties. And when you're able to do that from the tight end spot, when you're able to get free and go to the second and third levels of the defense, that means your offensive line and everybody else is doing their job. It usually spells points.
Shoppy's kick is up and good, and it's 27-6 Mount Carmel. And, you know, Dan and I talk a lot about how for our WKMC TV broadcast, WKMC TV is a student-run TV studio out of the Mount Carmel Area School District. It's under the direction of Mr. Steve Sakaitis and Gary Trefsker. And tonight, as you look at the sights and sounds of the game and you wonder, hey, how am I getting these? Well, I'm happy to tell you. So the director of tonight's broadcast is Ava Scavery. Graphics is Isabella Jacook. Replay is Ava Raup. Coach's tape is Alex Trefsker. Field cam, Lucas Lubinsky and Cole Kornaski. The press box camera is Dexter Hine. The main camera, Gavin Lubeski. Photographers, Hannah Forspring, Alyssa Trefsker, and Miley Butler. And our on-field reporter, who I believe will grab Coach Dara at the half here, is Alyssa Trefsker. So again, always a good reminder that all this great work that you get to enjoy, and especially as it gets to be a little bit colder late in the season, you get to be, maybe you're home, maybe you're away, wherever you might be, you're warm. These kids are out here early and late, setting up and breaking down and bringing a great broadcast right to you wherever you may be. Shoppy to kick. Diddy and Fisher back deep. We'll see if Shoppy pooches it. He does. Looks like it's going to be Canelo again from the 18. He's going to do his best to make something out of nothing, but the Red Tornadoes get there so quick to that second line. It'll be 1st and 10, Black Panthers at the 29-yard line. Max Cricky, that is, on the stop.
Yeah, we'll see this Red Tornado defense again, who's just been eating pretty much this entire game. You mentioned it earlier that the Black Panthers haven't really gotten an offensive drive going. They just kind of benefited from good field position. The first two drives there, the second one ending with their 6 points.
Minium. He hands it to Doyle. It was almost like a little crossfire in the backfield there.
Yeah.
But he and Lytle bumped into each other. But still, Doyle does a good job of getting forward. We'll give him 4.
You don't see that a whole lot anymore. You know, when I think about crossfires and stuff like that, I think about playing for the Coltmont Cougars, Jim, with Ray Shimko, and I want to give a shout out tonight to Coach Eric James, who's watching us from IUP, home of the Crimson Hawks. He's the current assistant AD for events and operations out there, cool. And he coached along with Ray Shimko. He coached me when I was young, and we talk about it all the time. I call him Coach Eric. He calls me Player Danny every time I see him, no matter how long it's been since he coached me.
Handoff to Doyle, and a nice play made there by Ben Miller. Make the stop in the backfield. So that was interesting motion there.
Yeah.
If you notice, when they brought Diddy across the formation, Lukuski, who's on the corner out here, he has to bump.
Yeah.
And then he's calling, I think in that case it was Matt Belichick, was the end on that side. It was to the heavier side.
Yeah.
And Matt had to bump too.
Yeah, but they did a good job of it, making that adjustment.
Now the ball is out.
Loose.
The ball is loose. Take it easy, pick it up, and that is a touchdown. That's Lukuski, who picks up the fumble. There were all kinds of red jerseys on the pressure. Morgani was in there. Not sure who else was, but that's a 33 to 6 now, big red, and that's somewhere in the ballpark of, I don't know, about 25-yard fumble return. We'll see on the replay.
Here it is.
So look, you see Morganti's coming off this end.
You know what?
It's just a backwards pass.
Yeah, the ball came out of Minium's hand a little strange. I think he saw the pressure coming from Morgani and knew that he wasn't going to be able to throw it through him and kind of lost the handle there. But the Red Tornadoes capitalize on another Black Panther mistake there, turn it into points.
Shoppy's kick is good. 34-6, Mount Carmel. And again, we want to thank tonight's sponsor for the first half, Tower Pizza.
Yeah, Jim, while we got a chance here, I want to give another shout out to one of the unsung heroes here for this Red Tornado staff, and that's Eric Schlegel, the equipment manager. Everybody out there, you might know him as Grim. Equipment manager Eric Schlegel. He's been doing this for a very long time. He was there when I played. He was there. He played here for the Red Tornadoes. He's an alum, and he just turned 50 years old. So,
happy birthday, buddy.
Happy belated birthday to Coach Eric Schlegel out there. He's involved in so many area sports teams, and has been for a long time. So that guy, he's here every Friday night, Saturday night, whenever he needs to be.
And what a Saturday night this has become. We talked about it a little bit at Milton. If you remember, it was 14-14 at Milton. There was some activity on a kick return.
Yeah.
And then the Red Tornadoes went on a 34-7 run from a point standpoint and really took over. Well, it was 6-0 Milton. Now it's been 34 unanswered so far from the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah.
Shoppy's kick is going to need some help on a roll, and he'll get it. Montgomery Fisher is forced to pick it up, And a good tackle by Cooper Kricky. It'll be 1st and 10 around the 20-yard line, but my goodness.
Fisher gave that ball every opportunity to go out of bounds, and it just didn't do it. And you know, credit,
Watch this
credit
all the way
to Monty
down here.
Fisher. Yeah, credit to Monty Fisher to get what he did. Because, I mean, that looked like it was doomed from the beginning when that thing didn't go out of bounds.
Well, in Lukuski, he doesn't get the tackle on that one, but it's Lukuski that forces Fisher to pick it up.
Yes.
So who knows? Maybe if Lukuski's not there, you know, the next bounce does sneak out of bounds.
Yeah, you know, you think about it sometimes. You've seen it. You see it in the NFL. I don't know. The ruling would have to be discussed here because sometimes things are a little different. But even if Fisher puts a foot out of bounds and picks that up.
Minium, he's under pressure from Shimko first. Now he's going to try to get around Bailey. Morgani's got to wait, and he's got Diddy back behind the defense. Delaney's going to do a great job of recovering.
Jim, that was Lytle in at quarterback. That was Lytle out there roaming around. I didn't notice it until I saw him break the pocket.
But he completes it all the way down to the Red Tornado 32.
And, Jim, this was one thing that we saw from the Red Tornadoes last week against the Indians that kind of killed them. When the quarterback was able to break contain, they extended the play, and usually big plays came from that.
And Lytle will stay in the backfield. This time he's going to hand it to Doyle. And there's just nowhere to go. And sometimes you think a big run like that softens up the defense up the middle. Or, excuse me, a long pass like that softens up the defense. Not the case here.
Yeah, not going to be the case here. Not with this tough Red Tornado interior.
Clokus gets up off the bottom of that. But Shimko, I think, is the second one off the bottom. So heck of an effort up the middle there by the defense. It'll be 2 yards, 2nd and 8. 8:05 remaining in the first half. It's 34-6 Mount Carmel in the quarterfinal matchup here of District 4 Class AAA. Lytle to throw, and he wants Fisher, and he's got him, and it's a touchdown. And it's 34-12.
Yeah, and that they just got it. You know, they got the matchup they were looking for there. Fisher did the same thing. He got behind the defender and did a nice job of locating the football and reeling it in. So that's, after the 34-0 run there from the Red Tornadoes, the Black Panthers finally are able to answer.
And they will go for 2.
Milton lining up for the 2-point attempt.
Lytle, straight back. And he throws. It's going to be for Fisher again, incomplete. Good coverage by Delaney.
Yeah, really nice job there by Delaney. They tried to go back shoulder. I think play took a little bit too long to develop. I think if you want to go back shoulder or you want to just go jump ball there to Fisher, you take one step and get that out of your hand. It looked like Lytle was trying to scan the field. Fisher was his backup plan there, his last option, and threw it out there. And I mean, he delivered a nice throw, but really good job by Delaney pressing Fisher to the sideline and then getting his hand in between the ball and the man there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Mount Carmel Lions Club is proud to announce the winners of the 2024.
Again, we talked about it a little bit early on, but don't forget.
Both players were picked from the defensive side of the game.
Wow. That's it. So on the line, the outstanding lineman is going to be number 9, Max Koricki, the sophomore. And the outstanding back is going to be number 30, John Morganti. And the other piece we just heard there is that for the first time in history, both of those folks were selected for their play on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, Morganti with the 2 interceptions. Koricki had a big game on the defensive side as well.
So Cooper Koricki is going to be flung down, but I had a hard time, I'll be honest with you, I had a hard time following Cooper Koricki because Ben Miller absolutely decleated a Panther.
Oh, and I missed it. I was keeping an eye on Cooper there.
Well, I'm glad
as he broke through the middle, but let's see if we could see it here. We might be out of the screen.
My goodness.
Often has many favorites.
Yeah,
including
didn't get it in the replay here. That's one I'm going to have to look for when I go back and watch.
So big return by Cooper Cricky out to midfield. And Marshalk's going to throw, and he's got Delaney on the out. Delaney does a good job getting upfield. Out to about, let's say, the 43-yard line. Give him 7, 2nd and 3.
Yeah, just to look at those stats from last week. Max Gricky had 10 tackles against the Indians last week, and then we mentioned Morgani. Morgani had the 2 big interceptions last week, so
that'll do it.
Yeah, 10 tackles and 2 picks. That's good for an award there.
And now it's Blessing off the right side, and he'll have the first down. At least he should.
It looks like they're marking him just short.
Brought down by Jaden Canelo for the Black Panthers.
That's a whole yard short.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Looked like they brought the ball back pretty far. Not sure if they ruled him down before the spin.
So it'll be 2nd and a yard, and there you go. The Red Tornadoes will take the 5. It's good for at least one of those a game.
And Jim, the offensive line has to have nerves of steel. I mean, you had blitzing linebackers run between the guard and the center, and they didn't move.
No.
The Red Tornadoes did not flinch.
Give Marshall credit, too.
Yeah.
1st and 10, Big Red.
So that'll move the ball down to the 36-yard line. 1st and 10, Mount Carmel from that spot. They lead 34-12, 6.5 left in the first half. Marshall to throw, and that's a great catch by Delaney. And now he's picking his way. He gets a good block from Sheganowski. He's down the sideline. Marshall's pass, Dan, I think that was tipped.
It was tipped at the line. And just the hand-eye coordination and the concentration. Here it is. Tipped. Delaney hangs in the air for that one.
And he gets a block from Bailey, Miller. Marshall has to jump on the snap. And it's a big loss there, back out to the 36-yard line.
But, Jim, if Delaney doesn't hang in the air for that, that ball's floating over his head, probably into the waiting arms of a Black Panther defender. So, really good job. I think there was trouble with the snap on that one.
Spot on the 36-yard line, brings up a 2nd and long. 5 minutes, 50 seconds remaining until halftime.
Again, the Red Tornadoes, a humongous loss there.
It's going to cost him about 15. 2nd and 25. Well, Marshall's going to throw, and he's got Tate Adams. Does a good job hanging on to the football despite the coverage and contact from Diddy. Down to the 27. Still 3rd and a mile.
Yeah, real nice job there. Tate Adams playing basketball there, boxing out his defender, getting the inside release and the leverage, able to reel that one in.
Red Tornadoes looking like they're going to be trips to the right. Bailey in the middle there, in front of Delaney and Belichick. And they're going to look for Adams. And there's a flag there. Adams ran a great route. I mean, he had the football. I think he picked it up off the ground. But nevertheless, there was pass interference all the way down the field. That'll be 15 yards for the Big Red.
Yes, it will.
See, it's a good ball by Marshalik. So we'll see how they adjudicate this.
There's a little hand fighting there, but it seems more so that Adams was fighting to get the hands off of him.
Against Milton. Penalty gives the Tornadoes.
It's still going to be a third down.
Yep, see, I waited that time because there have been a few times this season we've said, and that's a first down. We've been wrong. Now it's going to make it 3rd and 5, which is demonstrably better than the 3rd and 20.
Yeah. And it seems like nothing's free in high school.
And the Red Tornadoes bring Matt Belichick in, and he's going to run it down inside the 10 to the 5. It'll be first down, but Belichick takes the snap and takes off.
Yeah, we'll look to see if the Red Tornadoes stick with that and try to let Belichick get his 6 points here. But, you want to let Belichick get his 6 points, but haven't seen Blessing in the end zone tonight yet either. So he's got that. He's going to have that opportunity to hand it off, too.
Blessing in motion. Matt's going to throw it. He's under pressure. He's rolling to his right. Now he's going to step up. He puts his head down. He's going to surge forward. Now there's a flag there.
2 flags.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of about as far away from us on the field as you can get.
Face mask.
Personal foul, face mask against the Black Panthers. So if you're going to commit that penalty, inside the 5 is about the best place you can do it.
And now, does this one turn out to be an automatic first down?
I think it does because it's got the personal foul attached to it. Right?
Yeah, but we saw a personal foul last week
Brings up a 1st and goal.
that did not end up in an automatic first down. But this one will.
That's true. Blessings in.
There he is.
From 3 yards out, and it's 40-12 Mount Carmel.
And Jim, this has just been an offensive explosion from the Red Tornadoes here in this game so far. I mean, they've scored 40 more points than they did last week.
Indeed, they have.
Here, not even at the half yet. Probably will have another opportunity.
Shoppy's kick is good, and it's 41-6 now. And, you know, Dan, to your point, I think something that was maybe not widely discussed, but you heard it in pockets, was how would the Red Tornadoes react to last week's loss?
Yeah.
Again, you know, the Red Tornadoes had the coal bucket for 28 years, 27 straight matchups going into last week. And it was certainly an emotional loss. That was not something that, you know, anybody was excited about, or there's not a lot of moral victories you take out of that one. But on the other side, the Red Tornadoes had a week 11 to plan for.
Right.
There was always, regardless of the outcome of that game, the Red Tornadoes were likely going to play Milton tonight.
For sure. Yeah.
Right here at the Silver Bowl. And my goodness, they've responded.
Yeah, they absolutely have. You're right, Jim. And I think, you know, we talked about pregame how a Saturday game's a little different. And I think we saw that on the first drive. Milton came out. It seemed like Milton came out ready to play defensively. They were bringing some pressure. They were trying to rattle the Red Tornadoes early. They got to Marshall twice, and the Red Tornadoes ended up turning the ball over, which led to Milton's first score. Ever since then, that kind of woke the Red Tornadoes up, and they've done nothing but put on an offensive display since that first offensive drive.
Shoppy to kick. Again, I'm still trying to figure out. I know Shoppy can do a lot with the football and kind of kick it wherever he wants to kick it. In this one, he's going to be angle it away, and that's not going to be as favorable of a bounce. It's going to go out of bounds. But, Dan, I'm sitting here watching this, and I was like, you know, if Shoppy decides he's going to kick to the second line, I haven't snuck Fisher up there yet, right?
Well, and you got to think about that, like that going in. You think Shoppy's been doing this for a while now. You think he's looking for 32.
Right.
So where's 32 at? Let's kick it away from him.
Yep.
You know. And I think that's why they didn't really stick with the hash mark kickoff because, you know, it's just not. I mean, it might not be what Shoppy's comfortable with. Shoppy's been kicking from the middle of the field all season long. So he said, you know what, hell, we'll go back to the middle of the field and we'll just try to kick it directional.
So 4 wide, now make it 5. And it's going to be Lytle taking the snap again. And Bailey almost took the football out of his hands.
He did. He did. I think Lytle fell down to protect himself there and possession of the football. Because Bailey does a good job. Keeps outside leverage, turns Lytle inside, and gets credit for the tackle there. So that's what you want as a defensive end out there. You do your job, you get your outside leverage, you turn that guy with the ball back in towards the defense. But it's always nice when you're able to get the tackle, too.
Ends up being a loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Back to the 33. Lytle gets it out there quick to Fisher, and Fisher, he makes a man miss. He's still on his feet. And the Red Tornadoes do a good job of stopping it before it gets any further, but it'll be 1st and 10 Black Panthers at the Mount Carmel 40 on a gain of about 27.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really well-designed play there by the Black Panthers. They do a great job getting out in front of Monty Fisher there. And, you know, we've talked about it before. If they're not going to have time to throw it, you got to find a way to get the ball in the hands of your skill guys, and that's just an extension of the run game. Let's throw them a quick screen route and get some blockers out in front of them, and it paid dividends there for them.
Black Panthers, again, they keep going with that trip side to the wide side. Now he's looking for Fisher in single coverage. Fisher fell down on the route, and the ball was a little short, 2nd and 10. I think when...
Yeah, and good credit to Morgani there, because it appears, I mean, that play is designed for there to be a little bit of a push-off. You know, it's a quick comeback. You're giving that push-off to create a little bit of separation to try to come back to that football. And Morgani just didn't let Fisher push him off.
No.
And Fisher ended up falling down on the play.
Lytle in motion, Dom Lytle that is. Chase rolls that way and he throws it, looking for Dom, and it's incomplete. So now it's going to be 3rd and 10. And Dan, one thing I noticed on the long pass to Fisher, is it does seem like because the Red Tornadoes run that kind of the man-to-man defense, and even when a trips is flooded to that side, it's almost like the Red Tornadoes will have the corner, the defensive end, and then the safety over the top. They run like a triangle there kind of to cover that. And so the Black Panthers said, all right, we're just going to flood this and run a screen, and see if we can have more helmets out here than you do.
Right, more blockers out there than defenders, and it worked for them. So it was a, you know, it's always fun to kind of see the game inside the game.
And it's almost intercepted. Lytle's 3rd down pass. He was looking for Fisher, and Delaney cut underneath. Almost had a highlight reel interception there, but still it's a good defensive play, and it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, and I think there has to be some discussion about maybe trying to punt this and pin the Red Tornadoes deep with how much time there is left, but it doesn't appear that that's going to be the case here for the Black Panthers.
No, that ball, like I said, intended for Fisher. Delaney was underneath, and there were 2 Red Tornadoes over the top.
Yeah.
That was going to have a hard chance of being completed, but now on 4th down, Lytle to throw. He's under pressure from Belichick and Karicki and Keegan Brown, and he's just going to throw it out of bounds, and that's going to be another intentional grounding penalty, which, again, is going to, in this case, be like 24 yards of field position.
A humongous loss.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know, that's the inexperience. Like, you know, we haven't seen Isaiah Minium's been in for the past few weeks at that quarterback spot. So you get Lytle in there, who's just trying to, you know, he's trying to feel his way around. But the downside of that is, or at least a veteran quarterback, you get that pressure immediately, you're throwing that ball as far as you can. Let somebody try to run under it. Worst case scenario, you overthrow everybody.
Yeah, if that pass fell incomplete, it was going to be 1st and 10 Mount Carmel at their own 40. As a result of that intentional grounding, which again is a spot foul because it treats it basically like a sack, so you lose the down as well. It's 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. And it's Kimzel right up the middle, 47-12 Mount Carmel, 32 yards, Michael Kimzel. And that's going to be Kimzel's 4th rushing touchdown of the season.
Yeah, Jim, and that's how you capitalize off of the turnover. You get the big turnover, you bring the pressure on the quarterback there on the 4th down play, and that's why you punt on 4th and 10 from the Red Tornado 40.
Again, we want to thank tonight's first half sponsor, Tower Pizza. We want to thank all of you out there for spending your your Saturday night with us. I told you it wouldn't be the first time, or the last time. Shoppy's kick is good. It's 48-12. 2:40 remaining in the 2nd quarter.
Shoppy's kick is good. Your score. 2 minutes, 40 seconds.
Yeah, and again, this Red Tornado offense has just been putting on a display ever since that first drive ended in the turnover The Red Tornado offense hasn't really looked back since then.
Now, I'm not great at doing this on the fly, to be honest, in terms of gauging tackles and who's doing what, but we'll get Jose coming out of halftime, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I expect him to, he may give us if he's able to do it kind of on the fly as well.
Yeah.
Coming into tonight, Jason Clokus had 97 tackles. The freshman record is 103, set by Max Cricky last season.
Yeah.
So Clokus has been in there.
Yeah.
Does he have 6 or 7? I'm not quite sure, but it'll be curious to see if Jose has him clocked at either of those yet.
Yeah. I mean, the upside for Clokus is that still another half of football to play. So, and as long as the Red Tornadoes can keep things up, it's going to be another week of football to play. So even if he doesn't get there this week, he will get there. But, I mean, he's averaging probably 8 to 10 tackles a game.
Montgomery Fisher from the 15, and he's stuck.
He might get credit.
I was going to say, is that going to be one right there? I see Miller coming, and Clokus and Cricky. My goodness, the number of times those 3 guys get up off a pile.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Ball spotted on the 27-yard line. Black Panthers have it.
Now, I think another thing worth noting here is, we talked about this as a District 4 Class AAA quarterfinal matchup. There's only one other game going on tonight in District 4 Class AAA, and that is Mifflinburg and Montoursville. And in the second quarter, Mifflinburg leads 14-7. The winner of that game will play Danville. And a nice play by Delaney in the backfield.
Yeah, that's a huge play there by Jagger Delaney coming from that defensive tackle spot.
Loss of a yard. And Keegan Brown will head in there. He was in on the last drive as well. Bailey comes to the side, and Jabari Kynes will go in there and spell Delaney.
Yeah, you see with Kynes going in there, Karicki bumps out to the tackle spot. Kynes goes to the nose.
Bumps 55, and there's that other tackle. Single receiver each direction for Lytle, and he's going to hand it to Doyle. And Doyle's going to be met by Lukuski, who does a great job getting off his block and holding his ground.
Yeah, Lukuski does an awesome job of just staying home. You're right. It just fights over top of that block and makes a really nice tackle.
So now it's 3rd and 8. Ball in the 29. We got a minute 25 left in the first half.
And you have to wonder, Coach Dara has all 3 timeouts remaining. If they get a 3rd down stop here, if he decides to use one.
So as a point of reference, in their Week 9 matchup, it took the Red Tornadoes all 4 quarters to score 48 points. And now Lytle's going to try to make a run for it. But Ben Miller, and we've seen him do this at different times this season, looks like he shot out of a cannon to close the gap and makes the stop. And Lytle he didn't get a yard.
No, that's a phenomenal job of just reading that play all the way and lateral field coverage by Miller.
Now we're at 40 seconds left in the half, 19 on the play clock, so the Panthers are going to have to punt this. Patterson goes to punt. It's Morgani and Kimsel back deep. Again, both guys have big playability. Patterson's kick is going to be short of those guys. Morgani picks it up on a fly because why not? And he gets some space, and he's going to get, let's see where they mark him. It's going to be inside the 45, maybe right at the 44-yard line. And with 18 seconds left, the Red Tornadoes not making wholesale changes just yet. We'll see Marshalik back out there and just kind of see what they...
Jim, realistically, they might be sending Marshalik out here to take a knee.
Well, I'm curious.
Yeah. But maybe not. You see Kimsel in the backfield again here.
I can give Kimsel another carry.
Yeah, why not?
Again, we talk about it all the time. It's not like the Red Tornadoes come out here to run trick plays and try to do all kinds of fancy stuff. This is, hey, we're going to hand it to our guy. And that's what they'll do. And Kimsel's going to get some space. He's going to get a good block from Delaney. Some blocks downfield from Adams. And Kimsel sneaks out of bounds.
Nice
the clock
job.
will stop at 11 seconds. The ball down at the 27.
You run one more play and then let Shoppy come out and get some practice kicking.
27.
Yeah, right?
Let him kick a field goal.
First and 10.
If this play doesn't get in the end zone. We've seen how quickly the Red Tornadoes can do that tonight.
Well, tonight, Kimsel's got 2 carries for close to 50 yards. I think it's 49 if my math is right. So let's give him a third. And this one won't be quite as effective, but still a good, tough run. And that good, tough run is going to be the end of a great half for the Red Tornadoes as they will head into the locker room with a 48-12 lead over the Milton Black Panthers. But do not leave us just yet. As we said, we're going to have Coach Dara. Alyssa's with Coach Dara right now. Alyssa, go ahead.
Okay, I'm here with Coach Dara. Coach, you've had a great first half so far, so what can we expect from the second half?
I thought our kids played well. It was a little hairy coming out there, but we'll get some younger guys in the game, finish the game here strong.
Alrighty, thank you. Jim and Dan, back to you.
Thanks, Alyssa. And that's been a hallmark of these Coach Dara wins. We'll talk about it more in the second half, but for right now, we will break for the half where we're going to have the Big Red Band here, so you got to get here to see that, and we'll have Jose after the coming out of the half with stats, and we'll get scores from around the area, so stay with us.
I'm here with Jagger Delaney. Jagger, what's your position and number?
I play left tackle, number 70.
All righty, so we're going to get to know you, all right? So who was the best coach you ever had?
I'd probably say John Dara.
All right. You get it. You're probably with him every single day,
Yeah,
to be
I am,
honest,
yeah.
so you got to like the guy.
Great coach.
Yeah. What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh, it's a tough one. I'd probably have to say Gladiator, though.
Gladiator?
I love
Good
Gladiator.
pick. So who's your favorite teacher in the school?
Whew, that's a tough one. It's between a lot of people. It's hard to pick. I'd probably have to say Mrs. Shower, though.
Miss Shower?
Yeah.
Nice lady?
Yes.
I have her this upcoming year. What is your Pepe's order?
Pepe's order? Probably a large Georgia cup.
All righty, that's what I get too. They're really good.
Yes, they are.
What's your favorite fast food?
That's a tough one, too. I'd probably have to go with Wendy's.
Wendy's?
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Wendy's.
Nope, not at all.
Just cheap and good.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jagger. I'm Hobie 40. I'm here with Tate Adams. Tate, what's your number and position?
Number 7, wide receiver.
Okay, Tate, we're going to get to know you. What is something you are really bad at?
I'd say spelling.
Spelling. Okay. If you could switch lives with one of your teammates for a day, who would it be and why?
I don't know. Probably Zeke, because like he's just like a crazy kid. He's
Like
just
no one knows what he does?
Yeah, no one knows what he does besides football.
Who was the best coach you ever had?
Coach Ralph on the Cougars.
He was a great coach.
Yes,
Great
he was.
coach. Okay. What is your favorite movie?
I'd probably say The Waterboy.
Waterboy? That's a good movie. Funny movie. And what is your favorite song?
Oh, I don't know. I have a lot. Probably Last Night by Morgan Wallen.
Last Night. It's a great song. Great song. Thank you, Tate.
Yeah.
Next, we will continue the show with the jazz classic Santana tune, Oye Que Me Va. The show will then close with Earth, Wind, and Fire's hit September. This year's show includes soloist Hunter Horvath in percussion, Viara Ivanov on guitar. The band is led on the field by drum majors Madison Smith and Mario Awardi. Color guard captain is Fallon Jacobian. This year's staff includes Chris Steller, director, Luke Derrick, assistant director, Bernie Nestico, drum instructor, Joseph Rossi, assistant drum instructor, John Jacoby, assistant to the band director, Jennifer Melnick, color guard instructor, Linda Haas, assistant color guard instructor, Bernie Steller, Kelly Lucas, Erica Nestico, and Cameron Getty, music and marching instructors. We would like to thank Brett Getty, Matt Steller, the MCA School Board, and administration, and especially the MCA band parents for their continued invaluable support. The band would like to recognize the late Paul Prof-Semichik, legendary MCA Mounties director who wrote the brass and woodwind arrangements for portions of our show. And now we invite you to sit back and enjoy the 2024 edition of the Mount Carmel Area High School Big Red Band.
Yeah. What food is there? Do you have any ham sandwiches or no?
This world is filled with
All right, I'm here with Matt Belichick. Matt, what's your number and position?
My number is 2 and my position's outside linebacker.
All righty. So we're going to get to know you in 5 questions, all right?
All right.
So do you have any pregame rituals?
Not really. I just eat grilled chicken before every game, and I run 40 yards right before the game.
All right, all right. What's your favorite cinnamon stick spool?
The coal bucket, I think it's called. It's the one
right.
with the Nutella and peanut butter.
The cool cracker?
Cool
There
cool
you go,
cracker,
there you
that's
go.
what it is.
What is your biggest fear?
Spiders.
Spiders? They're my second biggest fear.
What's your biggest fear?
Probably the ocean. It's
You
very
don't
scary.
mess with
Nobody
it?
knows what's down there, honestly.
You don't mess with it?
No. What's your favorite TV show?
The Office. Or
The
Suits.
Office. Oh, Suits is a good one.
It is. Those two are like my top 2.
Especially being like a law firm family, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good movie to watch.
It is.
And who's your favorite professional athlete?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley?
Yeah.
Great guy.
I loved him since I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
He's always my favorite.
Big Penn State fan?
Yeah, big Penn State
makes
fan.
Makes sense. Thank you, Matt. I'm here with Ben Miller. Ben, what's your number and position?
I'm number 29, and I play inside linebacker.
All righty. So we're going to get to know you in 5 questions. All right. What's your favorite TV show?
Probably Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry?
Yeah.
Great classic
It's
show.
It's a great show.
All right. What's your Dunkin' order?
I've never been to Dunkin'.
Never been to Dunkin'?
No, I've never been that place. But actually, I've had one of those cold chocolate things. They're
Oh,
pretty good.
they are good.
They're pretty good.
They are good. What's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math?
Calc specifically.
Calc.
Specifically.
All righty. What's your favorite snack?
Snack. Ooh. First thing that came to mind was Scooby snacks, but that's not true. So, I don't know, maybe like Dippin' Dots or something.
Dippin'
like that?
Dots?
They're pretty good.
They're great. Yeah, they are great. What movie could you watch every day?
Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings?
Yeah. It's a great movie.
It's a great pick, honestly. And, one more question. How does it feel to have your younger brother, Josh Miller, on the team now?
Feels all right,
All right?
He's just there.
He's just there?
Yeah, he's just there.
Get to hang out with him more now?
Yeah.
Outside of the house,
Yeah, I have to drive in places, though. So.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
Soon he'll be driving.
Yeah, eventually.
Thank you, Ben. I'm here with Chase Belichick. Chase, what's your number and position?
Number 1, I play wide receiver and safety.
All righty, we're going to get to know you. What's your favorite sport to watch?
My favorite.
Hello and welcome back to the Silver Bowl, where after the first half of play, the Red Tornadoes lead the visiting Milton Black Panthers 48-12. We have the privilege here, while we're at the Silver Bowl, of having Jose with us for halftime. So, Jose, how are you, sir?
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
We are doing a lot better tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's an understatement, huh? But, it's good. Hopefully we see all the kids play the second half and get a lot of guys experience here and get out of here healthy, and we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were curious. I mean, there was a lot of action for you.
Let me do Milton first. 14 rushes, -8 yards, which seems about right.
Yeah.
5 of 15 passing for 118 and 4 first downs. So it looked like what it was actually. They hit a couple passes, which is a little discouraging, but
Sure.
but it's okay. They had to move the ball a little bit. Mount Carmel 31 rushes for 194, and what's interesting with that, we have 194, but we had 244, and we have 50 yards lost with the sacks and whatever else went on.
Yeah.
And the fumble.
And we were only 4 for 5 passing for 80, so 274, 18 first downs. The game's in control. So hopefully it'll be pretty good in the second half. Did you guys touch at all on the Terry Awards?
We did, yeah. We were able to hear them kind of come over the loudspeaker, Jose. So we got Max and Morgani. And did we hear right? Was that the first time ever that they've both been on the defensive side of the ball?
I was just going to tell you that. It's the first time that we can figure out that. It's hard when you look back and you try to figure out, well, this guy was a lineman, was he a back, whatever. it's the first time that we can tell that they were both on the defensive side of the ball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And, I think it's apropos for the game, too. We were unable to move the ball. Shamokin really had us shut down pretty well, and it's appropriate. And I think there was a couple other guys that were in the running, according to what those guys told me. But they were two good choices, and I'm sure they're both very happy with being selected.
Yeah, and Jose, one other thing we were curious about, and I know the defensive stuff is really hard for you to do on the fly, but we saw from your notes this week, Jason Clokas comes in about 6 tackles shy of of tying the freshman record. Do you have any thoughts on if he's close to that or unofficially?
He's definitely close to it, but whether he has 6 or 7, I wouldn't want to say at this particular point. But, he's going to get to play another game next week. And, when you think about it, he missed the first 2. He didn't miss the first 2 games, but he didn't start until the Mifflinburg game. So he's all over the place. He had a great game last week as well. I think he was in the running for that award. I think he had 12 tackles last week, and he's just playing a great game tonight. It seems that way. Obviously, my vantage point isn't the best, but but what we can tell, I'm sure you guys can tell maybe even better. Did he have 6 or 7?
Yeah,
we were trying to keep track as best as we can, but it's going to come down to some of those half tackles and stuff like that. That's more your area there.
And the other thing to look at there too is Benny Miller. He's around 89, 90, give or take, coming in. And he can be one of the 13th or 14th player to ever record 102 consecutive seasons. So it's something for him to look at, too. So everything's good here. I was hoping for Cooper. Cooper needed, 131 to get 1,000. He's probably only around 40 or 50 so far. So he's probably done as well. But we'll get him next week when it counts.
Yep. Well, thank you, Jose. It's always great to be able to talk to you. Have a good second half.
Hey, you the same. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jose.
Bye-bye.
So, Jose, as always, keeps us honest and keeps us on track of where we can be. Again, there's got to be running out of lead in that pen tonight.
Yeah. It's been a busy night, especially on the offensive side of the ball there for the Red Tornadoes. It's just been a tremendous job all around. Defensively as well, like Jose mentioned, really the only 2 scores for the Black Panthers were 2 longer touchdown receptions by Monty Fisher. And the big plays have been pretty much the only offense that the Black Panthers have. I mean, and it's evidenced by the 4 first downs they have on the night.
Second half begins with a deep kick to Kimzel. He's going to take it at the 2, and he can get up to speed, too. He does a good job of sticking his foot in the ground and dropping a shoulder out to the 20. Let's see, they're going to say the 27. It looks like the 27. Tonight's second half of this WKMC TV broadcast is sponsored by Century Services, so we thank them for their support. The clock will run here in the second half as the Red Tornadoes' 36-point lead eclipses the 35-point kind of limit there. And we'll see Dan. I'm not sure if we have 2. We got a few changes out there. Number 1 is the man who's going to take the snap. That's going to be Matt Belichick again, and he hands it off to Aiden Dietz off the right side. Aiden Dietz will get across the 30.
And you always, we talk about Aiden Dietz a lot. He usually gets in there later on in these games, and he has a tough task. He's not a big kid. He runs tough. He's quick, but he's running into that line of scrimmage a lot of the times. They're getting him in between the tackles, and credit to him for how tough he runs.
And this time it's Morganti who's going to bounce in and out on the inside Sally. He's going to be just short of the first down, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, just short. Little adjustment made there at the far official. I was looking at him. It looked as the initial spot, he was right at the sticks, but then he moved back a step there with everybody else.
So it'll be 3rd and a yard from the 37.
You see Max Karicki move from that tight end spot to the fullback spot there.
And it's going to be Matt Belichick's going to keep it himself. And, oh, boy, Matt has some room. He's going to use a stiff arm there. It'll be Lucas Diddy with the touchdown-saving tackle. But what a run by Matt Belichick from the quarterback spot all the way down to the 33-yard line of the Black Panthers.
Yeah. You see Chase in there, is Matt in at the quarterback spot. Chase, who we usually see out at the receiver spot, in there as a tight end. I believe that's Keegan Brown on the other side here, our near side tight end spot. And the offensive line doesn't look like there's too many changes there.
No, I don't think so.
We see Bumps is actually at right tackle, it looks like now, so Shimp goes out. I think that might be, we'll have to see who's in there for him.
Get a good handoff to Dietz, who does a good job of picking his way. And I think the nice thing, Dan, we'll see some changes here. The nice thing about the way the Red Tornadoes run that offensive line is I don't know if anybody was technically in for them.
Right.
There's really 6 of them that run out there between Delaney, Shiganowski, Shimko, Herb, Demko, and Spears.
You're right. And a lot of times you don't see Shiganowski, Herb, and Demko all on the field at the same time. And that time around they were.
On 2nd and 6, it's going to be Max Karicki in there at the fullback spot. He's going to get down to the 25. There were 2 changes there. The Red Tornadoes sent in 17, Aiden Brokenshire, as well as number 60, Jabari Kine.
I love seeing that, Jim. You see Max Karicki, after getting up from getting tackled there, he's tapping his helmet there to the sideline. He wants that. Let's run it again. Let him get the first down here.
It'll be 3rd and 2. Belichick's going to take it himself, and he's going to have the first down. A nice spin move, still on his feet, diving forward down to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, you're right. A very nice spin move right at the point of attack there by Belichick. It looked like initially there wasn't going to be much there. He found a little crease, and that spin move gets him free for an extra, 8, 10 yards.
We talked about Kine. He's in there at that right guard slot in between Demko and Herb. Now it's going to be Morganti, and Morganti's going to try to get the edge, and he stays on his feet, and he's tossed out onto the track. A lot of folks on that Red Tornado sideline curious about the extra shove Morganti had to endure there, but fortunately, despite the fall in the track, which is, 12 to 15 yards away from the field of play.
It's a long way.
He pops back up, and it's going to be 1st and goal at the 5. This time it's going to be Dietz off the right side. He'll be stopped up a little short. Get a good push. I'm going to say down to the 3.
As I say, I think it looks like he'll get about half of that they needed.
7:20. What may be a fast-moving second half.
Yeah, now I wouldn't be shocked to see Belichick hang on to this one.
Well, that's the nice thing. We got a lot of options.
Tons of options.
And it's going to be Dietz. And it looks like he's going to be stopped up just short down to the, like maybe for no gain down to the 3. So it'll be 3rd and goal.
Yeah, now you got to think here. Black Panthers got to be looking for 26 and 30 to get the ball here. So you think Karicki or Belichick maybe on this one?
And it's Karicki, number 9. And he's going to power into the end zone for a touchdown. It's 54-12 as the Red Tornadoes are rolling. And what's most interesting about that drive, Dan, and again, I understand we're at the point where the clock is running, but that took 5 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah. And, Jim, you see the elation from Max Karicki there. And we'll have to consult the Jose on this one, and we'll have a definitive answer for you next week. But I believe that might be the first touchdown of that young man's career.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm not committing to that one, Dan.
Because you think with how often he's around the ball on defense, there's maybe a chance he's gotten one. But I think that might. I'm not gonna commit to it, but there's a possibility there.
Shoppy's kick is good. It's 55-12, 6:20 left in the third quarter. And just as Dan kind of called out, if you see the sideline, a lot of red coats.
Yeah, yeah. And you know who brought out that bin of red coats there? Eric Schlegel.
Eric Schlegel.
The equipment manager extraordinaire.
There's a lot of, we talked about it a little bit. A lot of you guys are able to be home tonight. You'll be able to be home next week, as well as the Red Tornadoes are, about 18 minutes away from an opportunity to travel actually to Milton. We'll talk about that later. But there's a lot of fans still in attendance. And
two fans that are always in attendance for any Red Tornado sport that you can think of will be Roger and Ed Straub. Just want to give a shout out to those guys. Ed's probably, it's arguable because I know there's a lot of people that would claim that title, but I would say Ed's probably the Red Tornado super fan. He's involved in a lot of stuff. He and his dad Roger are at every Red Tornado football game. We love seeing them every time we get a chance to. It's always great to see.
Josh Miller with a boot all the way down to about the 3-yard line. Good kick coverage for the Red Tornadoes as Fisher returned it to the 23.
Yeah, that was a great kick from Miller. Showing off the leg here.
So, and I think we'll see some changes, not quite yet on the defensive side. Well, there's some, I should say. Looks like we see Adams out there. I don't know that we saw Adams out at the corner a whole lot tonight.
No.
He and Lukuski will be the corners. Kynes is out there in the middle. Brown out at a defensive end spot. But again, a lot of those guys were there in the first half as well. It's going to be Brown on the stop.
Really nice job there by Keegan Brown.
Just kind of crashing down on Doyle's carry. He'll pick up a yard. I think it's worth mentioning for anybody watching. We talked about Supper Club. Again, as long as the Red Tornado season continues, so will Thursday nights at Matucci's. It starts at 6:30. Be there 5:45. There's always good conversation around the Big Red. One of the topics that came up yesterday was the attendance of one Mr. Dave Clayman.
Yes.
And he pledged to not miss any more Big Red games this season, and I just saw him, so I will vouch for him. And a big play made by Al Bailey for I think that's going to go down as a sack for a loss of 3. And it's going to bring up 3rd and 11. I'll call it 12.
Yeah.
So tonight, again, we talked about tonight's District 4 Class AAA quarterfinal between the Red Tornadoes and the Milton Black Panthers. The winner of this game will travel to Danville next week, to Lewisburg next week. And a great job by Jason Clokus. Now, I'm giving him that tackle. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. That's a great job there. Miller, of course, involved, but Clokus hopped on Doyle's back like a backpack and just kind of rode him into the turf. 4th and 11, Hayden Patterson will come out to punt. But so the winner of this game will play Lewisburg. Now, it won't be at Lewisburg. It's going to be, if the Red Tornadoes are victorious here, at Milton on Friday night. So we've got you here. Patterson's kick. Red Tornadoes will wisely just kind of get out of the way. Now, this is a lot to kind of take in, so if you need, I'm going to try to repeat it a few times between now and the end of the game.
Right.
We're playing Milton here at the Silver Bowl tonight on Saturday.
Correct.
In just 6 days' time, next Friday, we're going to play Lewisburg if we're able to hold this lead for the next 15, 16 minutes. But we're going to play Lewisburg at Milton. So.
What?
MCA versus Lewisburg next Friday at Milton if the current outcome holds. So now we've got some changes here for the Red Tornadoes. Looks like Belichick is going to stay in at quarterback. Nope, he's going to come out. And the Red Tornadoes will likely call a timeout here.
Yeah, they will.
As they try to figure out what that offense looks like. Coach Dara. Again, that's part of what breeds the success we've seen from the Red Tornadoes. They currently hold a 43-point lead here in a district playoff game, and Coach Dara is furious. So you kind of understand where a lot of that comes from.
Yeah. I mean, these guys do a great job of getting these young guys involved and getting them the playing time when the opportunity arises. Every opportunity that Coach Dara can give them to get this varsity action. There's it's and a lot of times you're in there playing against the other team's varsity team. So you're not only you're seeing how the varsity players play, you're playing in front of the crowd of a varsity game. It's just the mystique and the atmosphere, and having an opportunity to perform in that atmosphere. It bodes so well, and it does so much for you as a player while you're developing.
Aiden Brokenshire takes the snap and hands it to Dietz. And we got a lot of business to take care of here, Dan. We got a lot of new jerseys out there. Want to acknowledge all these young men. Looks like I see number 59, Jason Dillo, is going to be on that offensive line.
Yep. I just saw number 14, Noel.
Noel, yep. 32, Eddie Dye's out there in one of the wing slots, along with number 3, Josh Blessing.
Wearing number 3 tonight. There's Eddie Dye.
The ball's going to pop out. It's going to be recovered by Minium. So it'll be 1st and 10 Black Panthers going that way. Again, we'll see if we make any changes.
I don't know if we mentioned it before. 75 Rempel is in there.
I don't think we got Rempel. 51 Ryan Bush. 54 Azazel Lilly. Number 10, Boblicks on one corner.
Looks like, is that?
Looks like.
Is that 18? Is that Landon Adams on the far corner?
Can't quite tell. There's definitely an 8. Can see that much.
It's either Landon Adams or Jalen Lilly. So
be a handoff to Doyle. And Doyle's going to have the edge. He's going to get knocked out of bounds by Dye. He was at that safety spot along with Logan Shooter.
And that is 88 Jalen Lilly on the far corner there.
Barry Kine still on the defensive end. Yeah, we mentioned Rempel. And Azazel Lilly, those are the 3 down. Keegan Brown's still out there. And, again, we got about 90 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter. I want to thank everybody who's part of this WKMC TV broadcast, including tonight's sponsor for the second half, Century Services. Lytle's going to keep this one himself, and he's going to try to get the edge, and he will. It'll be a 20-yard touchdown run by Chase Lytle to make it 55-18 here with 1:12 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, good job there by Lytle. Nice move, little stutter step there to kind of get the edge. Nice little run there by Lytle. Set up by the run on the previous play by Doyle.
So out for the extra point now. It's a low snap. Lytle does a good job of fielding and getting it situated. And Osman does the rest. It'll be 55-19. And I think another thing we talked about, again, we said the winner of this game will play Lewisburg. Again, if the Red Tornadoes win, it's going to be at Milton. If Milton were to be victorious, I don't know where they'd have played that one. I can't imagine they'd have played it at Milton.
No, they'd probably have to find some other neutral site.
But on the other side of the bracket in District 4, you had Mifflinburg and Montoursville matched up tonight to see who would play Danville, who would go to Danville. And in the third quarter, that one's knotted up at 14.
Okay, I had a feeling that was going to be a good game there, Jim. We talked about Mifflinburg a few times throughout the season, and I mean Montoursville has a great team over there, and then Mifflinburg just a grinder team. They're tough, man.
So you go, and the other thing that I think is interesting is you go back and you check. So the Red Tornadoes finished the regular season at 7-3. And you go back and think about the 3 teams that were able to come out on top against the Big Red. One of them, week 1, North Schuylkill. North Schuylkill out in District 11. They finished 7-3 as well, and they actually won their first round district playoff game last night against Notre Dame Green Pond, who was 9-1. However, that one loss for Notre Dame Green Pond was North Schuylkill all the way back in week 3.
Wow.
Jalen Lilly does a nice job there of making his way to the outside. It's a good tackle by the Black Panthers, but Lilly does a good job of working his way up in the briar patch, as Dan likes to call it.
Yeah, Lily's shifty out there.
Yeah, so North Schuylkill wins 26-23 over Notre Dame Green Pond to continue their season. Their 2 wins against Green Pond were by a total of 5 points. They won 26-23 last night. One of the other teams, the Red Tornadoes, unfortunately fell to, of course, last week, the Shamokin Indians. In their first District 4 Class 4A matchup, they beat Athens 50-7.
Wow.
To kind of keep their season rolling. And the handoff there, I'm not sure.
I think that went to 13.
Okay, shooter. Yep, if it's 13, cool.
Yeah.
Gonna get hit in the backfield there. It'll be second and about 13. And then, of course, the third team, the Red Tornadoes, fell to, of course, had a bye this week, and that's the Danville Ironmen. So the Red Tornadoes, you look at the record books, you'd see 7-3, but my goodness, the Red Tornadoes, those 3 losses were to no slouches.
And all 3 of the Red Tornadoes losses this year, I mean, it's not really an outlier. The Red Tornadoes are competitive against every team that they play against, but all 3 of them this year have been very competitive losses, very competitive games. Lost by a touchdown to North Schuylkill, lost by a field goal to Danville, and then last week took Shamokin to the wire.
Speaking of 3, that's the end of 3 quarters here, or at least it was a few minutes ago when Dan started talking.
All right.
It's 55-19 Mount Carmel with 12 minutes to play here in this District 4 quarterfinal. But you're right, Dan. Everything you said made total sense. I think the only other games, that I've kind of kept an eye on throughout the season. Of course, we always keep an eye on Southern.
Yeah.
Southern was 6-4 in the regular season. Certainly not a season they typically have. However, in their first round district playoffs, they defeated Hughesville last night, 39-0.
Okay.
So they're kind of rolling. Some of the other some of the other AAA teams that are, quote unquote ranked in the state, if you want to look at it like that. Northwestern Lehigh is 10-0. They defeated Saucon Valley 40-12 last night, as well as Scranton Prep is 9-1, and they beat Tunkhannock 42-0. Sharon beat Conneaut Area 65-6. So those 2 teams, along with Danville and Amani Christian, who had byes, kind of round out the largely considered top 5 in the state. Another carry for Shooter. Going to be third and about 16 here. The ball back on the 15.
Brings up a 3rd and 15 for the Red Tornadoes.
Dan, I was just looking quickly. I know you mentioned Landon Adams before. Trying to see if there's anybody else out there that we haven't acknowledged.
Did we get Boblick?
I got
Number
Boblick
10 in the slot there. Okay. I think we got them all. Keep scanning, making sure we do.
Brokenshire to throw, and he's looking for Noel. Noel comes back, and he almost has it.
He did.
It's a good ball from Brokenshire and a good route by Noel.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. Noel almost is able to bring that one down. Did a good job of getting position over the defensive back.
So now 4th down, the Red Tornadoes are going to punt. Is that Shoppy going to punt? Is that 42?
Yes.
Okay.
That is Shoppy going to punt.
Shoppy has a little problem with the snap, and he's just going to fall on it. So it's going to be 1st and goal, Milton. At the 3.
Yeah, it's a tough one there. It'll be a tough task here for the Red Tornado defense. Backed up a little bit in their own territory.
It doesn't look like there's any changes on the Milton side of the ball.
Panthers have a 1st and goal.
No. And why would there be?
10-10 remaining here. Again, second half sponsor tonight, Century Services. Lytle under center. He's got a split backfield of Doyle and Dom Lytle, and it's going to be Doyle off the right side, and he'll be able to pick up a score there. And it'll be 55-25 from 3 yards out.
Yeah, the Black Panthers put together a long drive there. Cap it off with some points.
Osmond's kick is good.
Osmond's kick is good. Your score,
55-26.
Mount Carmel area Tornadoes 55, Milton Black Panthers 26.
So, you know, we talked about, again, with this being a student-run TV studio, I think it's important for anybody out there with us to kind of, you know, we talk about the players, what's going on in the field, we talk about all different kinds of things, but it's always important to acknowledge the young men and women that are supporting this from a TV studio standpoint. So tonight's director is Ava Scavery. Graphics are Isabella Jacook. Replay is Ava Raup. Coaches tape, Alex Trefsker. Field cam, Lucas Lubinsky and Cole Kornaski. The press box camera is Dexter Hine. The main camera is Gavin Lubeski. Photographers, Hannah Forspring, Alyssa Trefsker, and Miley Butler. And our on-field reporter that you met before the half, Alyssa Trefsker. So again, a big shout out to those kids that keep this whole thing rolling and the support and direction of Mr. Sakaitis and Mr. Trefsker. Osmond will step this off. He's going to kick. Let's see. Looks like Lily. It's Lily and Shooter back deep. Is that 13? Am I seeing that right, Dan?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Osmond's kick. It'll be Shooter from the 7. And Shooter's got some space. Good job returning there by number 13 all the way out to the 35. And you know, again, Shooter's one of those we talked about kind of like Dietz, where they get a lot of those handoffs up the middle.
Yeah.
But you see what he can do in space.
Absolutely, Jim. He did a great job getting and showing the vision there as well. You know, he could have just ran that straight up the middle there. He found a crease on the outside and got to it. Give the Red Tornadoes some good starting field position here.
It's like number 11, Josiah Reno out there. I'm not sure that we saw Reno a whole lot before. Boblik coming to the sideline. Be Reno for Boblik. And I think there's a new number split out left. As the handoff to Shooter again, give him a little space there.
Yeah, so Shooter does a nice job, and that's number 54. I believe that's Azazel Lilly out there in front leading the way for Shooter downfield there.
But split out to the left there, far side of the screen is Skylar Weisig. You know, I didn't think we saw number 19 before as we went through there. Again, like we said, none of this is possible without the students running the studio, and certainly not possible without our sponsors. A Shooter picks up a first down, and tonight's second half sponsor, Century Services. This is a really nice job here by a younger version of the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah. Yeah, moving the ball.
Yeah.
The offensive line, you know, kind of setting the tone. They're doing a really nice job.
There'll be under 8 minutes left when they snap this one. Again, it's Brokenshire. It's Rempel snapping to Brokenshire, who's turning around and handing it to Shooter for the most part. We'll see if that's the case here. A little trouble with the snap. Brokenshire keeps it himself, and he does a good job, and there's going to be a horse collar tackle there. There's a hand inside the shoulder pads.
Yeah. No flag.
Okay, so it's going to be 1st and 10 Mount Carmel any event. Here you get a good job on the replay here. You see that hand a little up north on those pads, but it's a good job by Brokenshire making the most out of a broken play.
Yeah.
There's a Brokenshire broken pun in there somewhere, but I can't find it right now.
Yeah, we'll figure one out here.
1st and 10 at the 40.
Aiden's gonna see a lot of time on the field with the way he's been playing.
This time it's Shooter, and Shooter, tough run. Again, he gets a good job by that Red Tornado offensive line of giving him some space. The Black Panthers are bringing the house.
They are. They're bringing everything they have.
I mean, my goodness.
And realistically, I think the reason the Red Tornadoes aren't in the shotgun double wing is just to pull 2 of the
Right.
11 defenders away from that, because it seems like the other 9 are just running directly into the middle of the offensive line and trying to get a stop. But the line's doing a really good job of picking guys up.
Brokenshire is going to keep this one himself. He took a shot there, but he's going to be very close to a 1st down.
Yes, he is.
Now there's a little after the fact activity there, but a good job there by the Big Red of staying out of it. And again, we keep talking about it. I want to make sure, again, Dan, I'm going to try to make sure we have all these numbers right. Looks like the left tackle right now is 59, Jason Dillo. I think that's 60 Kynes at the left guard.
Yep.
Rempel's the center. Trying to see who's at right guard. I think it's 51 Bush.
Yeah.
Ryan Bush. And then the right tackle is 54, Azazel Lilly. And those 5 guys are doing a heck of a job. You've got Keegan Brown in there at a tight end spot and Josh Blessing in the backfield. Brokenshire is going to keep this himself. He's going to be short of the 1st down.
I see a little extracurriculars there.
Yeah.
A little frustration.
It'll be 4th and 2 now. Ball back to the 32. Again, it was also, we talked about the line in the backfield. We also had Reno out there for a while on one of the wide outs. Reno came to the sideline for Landon Adams, and it's Skylar Zweizig on the other side. So 4th and 2, we're under 5 minutes left. Ball's at the 32. The Red Tornadoes lead 55-26. And it's Brokenshire, and he's going to try to get the edge, and he does a great job. He's going to be short, I think. I don't think he got the 30.
Yeah, I don't think he was able to get all the way back.
But it's a great effort by Brokenshire to even make it close.
Yeah, Brokenshire took a shot the last couple of plays.
So the Black Panthers will take over 1st and 10 at, it's like right around the 32-yard line. And again, here tonight, this is our District 4 Class 3A quarterfinal matchup, sponsored by Century Services. And Minium's going to come in. It looks like he'll be the one taking the snap. But he's still got Doyle to his left, Dom Lytle in that fullback spot, and Fisher and Diddy split out to the right. Dom Lytle comes in motion. It's going to be a handoff to Doyle. And Doyle's going to be stopped up. Just a great job by those young Red Tornadoes out there. And now there's a flag. That is just unacceptable.
Yeah, very much so. And again, the Red Tornadoes doing a great job getting away from that. They've got a ball game to play next week. Let the other team do what they're going to do. We'll see how this gets called here.
It's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct against the Black Panthers. So they'll walk this off. And again, Dan, you called it out. It's a great job by, again, those young Red Tornadoes, especially out there, doing the best job possible.
Yeah, just keeping their heads.
Diddy comes to the sideline for the Black Panthers. Trying to see who's in the slot. I can't quite see a jersey. But it's going to be Minium off the left side. He's running behind Doyle, and he's going to run into number 14, Ezekiel Noel, and he shall go no further.
You're right. That was like a rock meeting a hard place there. And Noel just stood his ground.
My goodness.
Love seeing that, especially from a defensive back, sometimes quarterback, sometimes receiver. You're used to seeing linebackers make hits like that. You got your safety coming up and making a hit like that. You love it.
That's going to be one he enjoys watching it film tomorrow.
Yeah, you get a lot of props from the coaches when you make a hit like that.
So it's 3rd and 12, and it's going to be Fisher inside, and this time it's going to be Keegan Brown who's going to stop him short. And Kynes comes in along with Blessing, looks like to finish it off, and my goodness, this Red Tornado defense has looked phenomenal tonight.
They have, Jim. You're right.
And it looks like they're expecting a punt.
But I'm not expecting one here. And you see the coaches now waving them back up here because you see Minium head back into the huddle.
So it'll be 4th and 12, 2:25 left here. The Red Tornadoes looking for the defense to get a stop so the offense can salt this one away. And Minium's going to hand it to Doyle, and there's nowhere to go. Again, what a great job by the interior of that Red Tornado defense. It looks like that's Bush getting up off the bottom, Blessing, Rempel. Just a great job by that defense.
We got a Red Tornado down here.
Can't quite see the jersey.
Right in the middle where the action was at.
Play stop for injured player.
Well, we've talked about it all season, Dan, the importance that Coach Dara especially, and he told you himself at halftime, you don't have to hear it from us, the importance that he puts on getting some of those younger guys out there on the field in important games to take important snaps and how that affects their growth. And if you look at how this defense has operated tonight versus maybe how it operated in week 2 versus Central Columbia, for instance, that you can see the growth.
Yeah, you absolutely see the growth. And that's Azazel Lilly coming to the sideline under his own power, so you like seeing that. Because that young man's been doing a great job out there along with the rest of that defensive front. But you're right, Jim. And I tried to kind of highlight it a little bit earlier, but that's just the importance of getting these snaps in these games is paramount. And that's the reason why you cultivate this. That's what turns a team into a program. And you have that winning tradition. You get these guys opportunities in games like this, and there goes Shooter again. Yanked down by his face mask.
And one of our guys is down as well.
And again, no flag there.
Shooter, just a tough run again. And I hope, again, I hope we're all right down there on the sideline. Red Tornadoes, of course, in no real rush here. The play clock just started. So they're going to have to rely on the official, I believe. Brokenshire, a little trouble with the snap. He does get it to Shooter. And Shooter's just fighting. Fighting and fighting. And give the officials credit there. They blew that one dead maybe a little bit early, but I think that's to make sure nobody came in late.
Yeah.
So credit the officials there, focusing on the safety of the young men out there.
And the Red Tornadoes are going to have to run one more play. So let's say let Brokenshire throw one up to the end zone here.
Where's Noel? Is he out there?
Well, you got Landon Adams and you have Zweizig out there. So let's throw one in their direction, see if they can go get it.
See, it looks like they're going to take a knee.
Yes, it does.
Best formation, Dan?
The victory formation.
And the Red Tornado season will continue at least another week on the back of this 55-26 win over the visiting Milton Black Panthers.
Yeah, and again, Jim, you know, that's just a good all-around win there for the Red Tornadoes. The defense played tremendous in the first half. 2 big plays were really the scores for the Black Panthers there, that 12 points. They did a great job defensively, and the offense looked like a juggernaut out there tonight, which is really what they needed. They needed that after being shut out against Shamokin last week, coming back and just putting points on the board at will.
It was big. It was a big night. Again, we talked about it. There were a lot of things that could have theoretically gone sideways for Mount Carmel coming into tonight.
Yeah.
An emotional loss last week, playing an opponent for the second time, playing on a Saturday. And again, you know, you wonder on the first play at least, how did that go, right? The first drive of the game, did that affect anything? The Black Panthers jumped out to a 6-0 lead.
Right.
However, Red Tornadoes got right pretty quick.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier. I think that was kind of a little bit of a wake up there. You know, you get you give up those early points to put yourself in the hole, you know, a little deficit, getting, you know, just enough of a smack there, a wake up call to get you right and get you ready for that game.
Yeah, it was big time, and you know, of course, that's what we're going to need to continue from one week to the next. We talked about it before. We're trying to not, I promise you, we're not trying to make this more difficult than it has to be. It's more complicated and confusing.
Yeah.
But the Red Tornadoes are going to play Milton next week.
No.
Excuse me, they're going to play at Milton next week. Thank you. They're going to play Lewisburg next week at Milton. And while we have a second here, Dan, I'm trying to look and see if we get any updates on that Mifflinburg game. As again, that was a 14-14 contest. And it looks like Montorzo is now up 28-21 in the fourth quarter as we see the Red Tornado huddle there. Again, it's been a really good night here at the Silver Bowl. I think we talked a little bit about, you know, what the Red Tornadoes needed to do. We saw a lot of it. The comeback, if you want to call it that, Dan, of the shotgun double wing.
Yes.
You know, we've certainly seen that more over the last couple weeks, but this is by far the most effective it's been since we saw it.
Yeah, maybe not a comeback, a reemergence.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Exactly, and that shotgun double wing has been in Coach Dara's back pocket as long as he's been here, and it's, you know, when it's running properly, it's hard to stop. It's very hard to stop.
It is, and again, you talk about how much of that is Luke Blessing.
Yeah.
Right. And a huge part of that, of course, is the versatility of that offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, just being able to call out those traps, being able to get out in front. You know, having 3-4 bodies out in front of the ball carrier is humongous.
And I think, speaking of ball carriers, I think we just got some stats from Jose, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did. We've got some final stats here, so we'll go Milton, 24 rushes for 49 yards, 5 of 15 passing for 110, 6 first downs. For the Red Tornadoes, 56 carries for 270 yards.
My goodness.
4 of 6 passing for 80 yards. 24, that number's accurate, 24 first downs.
Wow.
Tonight, and that's what you get from the shotgun double wing from Coach Dara. It's a ball control offense. You win the time of possession, you win the yardage battles, you win the game.
And did you say 270 yards of rushing?
270.
So what's interesting about that is, again, go back to what Jose mentioned at the halftime. With the sacks and the over-the-top snap,
yeah,
that kind of fell backwards and cost the Red Tornadoes, I think, almost 20 yards. They probably ran for 300 plus tonight.
Yeah, they definitely did. And that was that. I mean, that's the Red Tornadoes. That's their staple. You know, they're a downhill running offense, and getting back to that, I think, was huge. And then you have the ability that they have to throw the ball as well.
And it looks like we're going to have Alyssa with Coach Dara here after the big win. So, Alyssa, go ahead.
I'm here with Coach Dara. Coach, congrats on the big win. What can we expect next week in Lewisburg?
Lewisburg's a good team. They had a really good season. I think they have a really good roster, a lot of good personnel. It'll be a dogfight, but our guys will be ready.
Alrighty, thank you. Congrats again. Jim and Dan, back to you.
Thanks, Alyssa, and thanks, Coach Dara, for your time as always. And thank you guys for your time. We want to thank tonight's second half sponsor, especially Century Services, first half Tower Pizza. But again, it's not going to get much better than hearing from Coach Dara, so I think that's probably a good place for us to wrap it up for the night.
Yeah, speaking of time, Jim, don't forget to turn your clocks back tonight.
Ooh, good catch. Good catch, Dan. Turn it back. You get an extra hour in your weekend tonight. So, again, tonight the Red Tornadoes are victorious 55-26 over the visiting Milton Panthers. They will play first Lewisburg at Milton next Friday night. I'm Jim Lesko.
And I'm Dan Lesko.
And for Jose Gonzalo, this has been a WKMC TV broadcast. Thanks for spending your Friday night with us, your Saturday night with us in this case. And as always, go Big Red. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.